Hello? As some of you may or may not know, it is now Pride Month. That means it's time to bake.
Doofenshmirtz Table Incorporated!
I have my recipe. I'll link that in the description. Here are the ingredients. Yes, here are the ingredients that I will be using to make the rainbow cupcakes. It will be a very fun time. Yes. I sound like a robot. So what's the first step? Preheat the oven. First step, done. Cream the other things. That is the next step that we are doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This butter was just melted a little bit in the microwave. And I'm gonna save these wrappers because I think muffin holders are a scourge on humanity. Now that that is happening, we have a small break time, which means, you know it, we're gonna cut to a gay fact. Wow. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a hat, it's because I haven't washed my hair today. Gladys Bentley. Bentley was a gender-bending performer during the Harlem Renaissance, donning a top hat and tuxedo. Bentley would sing blues in Harlem establishments like the Clam House and the Ubangi, I will look up how to pronounce that, club. According to a belated obituary published in 2019, the New York Times said that Bentley had died in 1960 at the age of 52, was Harlem's most famous lesbian. In the 1930s and among the best-known black entertainers in the United States. So the next step is something that I probably hate the most in baking, and that is separating egg whites and egg yolks, because I think that's weird and gross, but I'm gonna do it because that's what the recipe says to do. Mom got these eggs from a local farmer, and it's covered in feathers, and that makes me nervous. Two. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that wasn't all that bad. There's still a little bit eggshell in there, so I'll fish. I can say words. My hand's not in frame. That doesn't matter. You hear my voice. We're supposed to add the vanilla and the egg yolks to the biscuit. Well, that's mixing. Let's mosey on over to other Kira, where we have another gay fact. Bayard Rustin. Rustin was an LGBTQ and civil rights activist, best known for being a key advisor to Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. He organized the 1963 March on Washington and was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor, in 2013 for his activism. Our next step. We need another tiny bowl for all of the dry ingredients. 1, 2, 3. Baking powder and less salt. The next step is to put the dry ingredients and the milk into the original batter by putting in 1 cup of dry ingredients and 1/2 cup of milk, alternating. Yes. This is me doing a voiceover for the thing that I already said that I was going to do, that I'm already doing, which is putting the dry ingredients and the milk in one at a time. And there's really no point in this voiceover, but I don't want to have just empty airtime, so I'm going to keep talking. I really like candles. They just look so pretty. Hi, bro.
Get blocked.
This step requires a metric crap ton of bowls, so be prepared for that. Now here's is for the complicated parts. I am dividing up this batter into 6 different container batters. Each color is going to be in each one. The food dye and the mixing of it was a very hard thing to figure out. I wanted each of the layers to be vibrant, but I also didn't want to change the amount of food dye I put into each one too much. And I think that the amount of food dye I put into each did affect the cupcakes in the end, how the layers dispersed. I ended up with a lot of red in the middle, and I'm not sure why, because I don't think I put in that much dye into the red, so I think it might have been a bit heavier and so it sunk. So I would try to keep the amount of food dye in each about even. Next, I greased the sides of the cupcake tin, but I wouldn't recommend doing this. I would recommend using the paper things, even though I usually say I would hate the paper things because I hate them so much, but this time I would recommend it because this recipe is very sticky and it stuck to the sides of my pan and made it very hard to clean. The recipe said that the easiest way to do this next step was to put the colored batter into a piping bag and pipe it onto the bottom. I did not find that to be true. I thought that it was a lot of waste if I did that, and so I decided I would use one piping bag and clean it every time, but that was so much work, and with the piping bag, it was hard to disperse the layers evenly across all 24 cupcakes, because some of them would get like very little amounts of purple and some would get huge amounts of purple. With the spoon, I found it way easier to do that. So I would recommend just going in with a spoon and putting a little layer of each. I tried to make sure that each cupcake got a little bit of each color. It mostly worked out fine, but I would use the spoon. I also only recorded myself doing the purple layer because it took forever and I didn't want to waste that much space on my camera. I give up, I'm just using spoons. So I finished doing each layer. They look kind of sad. Not each layer is like crisp. Some of them are a little wispy, but hopefully it'll look like each layer when you bite in the middle of it, because they're definitely not gonna look like a rainbow around the edge. Yeah, let's bake these boys. My dad made a pizza also, so that's what that is. While those cook, it's a perfect time for a gay fact. Stormy DeLavery, a biracial butch lesbian, DeLavery was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was always a performer. As a teenager, she joined the Ringing Brothers Circus, where she rode jumping horses. Then from 1953 to 1969, DeLavery toured the black theater circuit as the MC and only drag king of the Jewel Box Revue, the first racially integrated drag revue. I don't know how to pronounce words, I'm sorry. Revue in North America. She worked as a bouncer for several lesbian bars in New York City in the 80s and 90s and held a number of leadership positions in the Stonewall Veterans Association. DeLavery served the community as a volunteer street patrol worker, and as a result was called the Guardian of Lesbians in the Village. Beyond her LGBTQ activism, DeLavery also organized and performed at fundraisers for women who suffered from domestic violence and their children. She sounds like somebody that I would want to hang out with. She sounds so cool. Okay, right here. Okay. Zach, I need you to move your feet. Ooh.
They look beautiful.
Thank you. There's a pizza where I want to put my cupcakes. also made frosting, but it was pretty boring and I've already done it in a different video, so I'm just gonna skip over that bit. Yeah, so I cut all around the sides and I scooped up with the knife from the middle to try to get them out, and it took a long time and it took even longer to clean up the trays. So if you're gonna make this recipe, use cupcake thingies. I don't even remember what they're called. I don't know. Cupcakes are all cooled off. Got frosting. Frosting needs to warm up a little bit, spin in the fridge. Got a reusable piping bag. So you scoop the frosting into the bag. If you put the bag into a cup and fold it over the sides, it is so easy to get the frosting in there. I was so proud of the frosting on these cupcakes. I have never done that good of a frosting job in my life. It usually ends up pretty bad, and I usually end up just scooping it with a knife and putting it onto the cupcakes, but I used the piping bag the whole time, and I filled them in a swirly pattern and made them look very pretty. Zach, you want to try a cupcake?
Hello.
Look how pretty they are. Go for it. Wait! Oh, okay. I was going to say cheers me for it. Okay. Cheers. Actually, no, that's covered in gross boy germs.
It's gay.
That's the goal. It looks like some of that red sunk in mine. Can I see the inside of yours? I bet the red I used more dye or something, so it just sunk. Pretty yummy.
Yeah, they taste like cupcakes.
Yeah, not outstanding, but good. Mom is here, but she would prefer to not be on camera. That's Zach.
Hello.
So, yes.
Zach of the half eyebrow.
Yes.
It's going back though.
It's true.
Here I go. Beautiful rainbow cupcake. Oh, look how beautiful.
Wow.
All right. Good colors. That's really tasty.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kira. This is wonderful. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Can I keep eating it?
Of course.
All right. Bye.
Enjoy. And last but not least, one more gay fact.
Thank you.
Okay. James Baldwin. A writer and social critic, Baldwin is perhaps best known for his 1950 collection of essays, Notes of the Native Son, and his groundbreaking 1956 novel, Giovanni's Room, which depicts themes of homosexuality and bisexuality. The novel stood among literary critics because it features all-white characters, unlike the civil rights activists' other novels, which center the experiences of black people. Baldwin's career educating others about black and queer identity, as he did during his famous lecture entitled Race, Racism, and the Gay Community, at a meeting of the New York chapters of Black and White Men Together, now known as the Men of All Colors Together, in 1982. There are way more on this list. I'll link it below. To acknowledge how this video is about Pride, and Pride could not have happened without the contributions of many black LGBTQ people. Stonewall started with riots, and Stonewall started with black trans women, and that should absolutely be acknowledged and celebrated. Yeah. The cupcakes turned out pretty okay. They weren't as yummy as I wanted them to be. I feel like I've made better cupcakes, but they weren't gross. So that's fun. I really liked the frosting. I've never been good at piping frosting, but they turned out pretty good this time. Yeah. This was actually how I came out to my parents, with a cake. I baked them a cake, and then I frosted it with what I thought were the bisexuality colors. They're not. Also, that's when I thought I was bisexual. Yeah. I'm a lesbian. Like, comment, subscribe, I'm sorry, my voice is phlegmy right now and I'm stumbling over my words. I just woke up. Okay, bye-bye.